3,800 square feet, not big enough for the two of you?
No, no, not even.
Okay.
Not even close.
Not even close, dude.
Nice.
No thanks. I'm not looking for roommates, Josh. I just
Right.
want to
It's
share
like-
the same building
Right,
in the same very, very, very large space.
Yeah, he wants us to go to a building where we have to get our own fucking mail.
Give me a second.
You literally are going to have a live-in butler. You don't have
He
to get
hasn't
the
committed.
mail.
He hasn't committed.
What do you mean he hasn't committed? He's coming.
Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is the affiliate marketing show. Wanna make that paper, wanna make that now. This is
What's up, everybody? This is Josh coming to you with another episode of the Affiliate Marketing Show. Please be sure to like, follow, and subscribe for all the latest affiliate news, updates, tips, and trends. Again, I'm Josh from OfferVault.com, the industry's #1 aggregator of affiliate marketing information, including networks, offers, advertisers, everything you need in the affiliate marketing space. We got you covered. We also have Mr. Pay-Per-Call himself, Adam Young, as well as the creator of the exclusive Ringba tank top, Harrison Gevirtz, plus Fernando Mendez, CEO of Assure Media, a reliable performance marketing agency connecting consumers with brands through high-quality inbound calls, live transfers, and real-time leads. What is up, Fernando? How you doing?
What's going on, Josh? Doing well, man. Can't complain. Appreciate you and the team at OfferVault, and of course the team at Ringba hosting the show and bringing me on.
Yeah, man, you're a name we've been looking to get on here for a while, so I'm super pumped to have you join us today. I know that you've been in the pay-per-call space for quite a while now, over 10 years, since 2012, and was fortunate enough to be a part of a acquisition of your former company in 2017, which later parlayed into Assure Media. So I'm curious, where do you, or how has the pay-per-call industry changed since 2012? Let's start there, get us up to today, and then where do you see the industry headed? And we'll talk about what maybe some people can do to prepare for where you think we might be going.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So it's been an exciting journey and ride, just seeing the evolution of pay-per-call from, as you mentioned, I was fortunate to be a part of a pay-per-call agency at that time that launched in 2012, which was, I would say, the infancy of pay-per-call, right? It was when everything was, the user experience was shifting to mobile. I remember seeing like the articles on Google with 80% of the online experience shifting over to mobile advertising or mobile in general. And I think we beat that by not just 2016, but by I think 2014, we were already at that 80% marker. So it was incredible to see and be a part of the new frontier of lead generation, with everything being on the online lead side and then shifting over to the mobile consumer, seeing advertisers take advantage of the new marketing channel. And as a young excited and hungry pay-per-call marketer, I was fortunate to be a part of the agency called Exact Match Media. At the time, we grew that business from infancy, trying to figure out how to connect, how to generate inbound calls with Google's paid search and Google's enhanced or essentially click to call modifier and click to call function, and then leveraging affiliates and strong partnerships throughout that time, and connecting users with mobile to direct advertisers across multiple verticals, but with a heavy focus in the insurance space. And Google being a big just marketing channel at that time, and over the last few years, we've seen a big shift over to paid social and other social advertising platforms such as Facebook, TikTok, and then obviously YouTube, right? YouTube being a rollout with video, and that being pretty major. So it's exciting to see how some of the other, or going back to like 2012, we were utilizing other call tracking solutions And when I jumped back into the space in 2017, I kind of heard about the new kid on the block, so to speak, and this new up and coming platform called Ringba. And it was exciting what the team, Adam and Harrison, put together. And our team kind of started to test and figure out how we can utilize Ringba to supercharge our campaigns when we launched Assured Media, and that was it was during the height of COVID as well. So once again, I was a part of that agency, right, that grew from 2012 to 2017. We grew that business to the point of acquisition. I was fortunate to be a part of an acquisition that took place in 2017, and then I was fortunate also to help transition that business over to the new buyer. And then I kind of took a year off to figure out what was next, right? What was on the horizon for pay per call, even for myself, right? Do I kind of get back into the space? And then I took a shot at potentially launching my own endeavor and my own agency. And in 2019, we launched Assured Media, and built a strong team. We grew it in the height of a pandemic when the world was a bit crazy at that time, and we were fortunate that we're all working remotely. We had it for a short period. We actually launched a call center here in South Florida. We had a call center in Coral Springs, and we helped. And during COVID, we had no choice but to shut that call center down. So we decided to go remote, transition the call center operation over to the Philippines, and we utilize a partner in the Philippines that handles all of our call center engagement and handles soup to nuts for us. And it gave us the ability to reinvest those savings into our marketing and scale our campaigns across all lines of insurance with.
Fernando, yep. I'm curious sorry to interrupt, but
no, not at all.
The call center.
I'm thinking the same question you're about to ask.
Yeah, watch this. Yeah. So when you shut down the American call center and went overseas, COVID was a tough environment and a tough landscape. And what I heard you say right there was you obviously were not going to give up. You're going to be resilient about it and then problem solve your way out of the situation. So I'm curious if you would unpack that a little bit, like what happened in your American call center, and then what were some of the pitfalls as you were dealing with that problem in moving it offshore?
What was the transition like? Because my understanding is that the Philippines was pretty strict as well regarding COVID.
That's interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. We were fortunate that during COVID, even with its limitations, we were still able to leverage a partnership that gave us the ability to provided call center, not just operations, but QA support. And of course, with our data, it gave us access to management. Some of the pitfalls and the transitions really came from the fact that we were able to transition it remotely. We just saved costs on overhead, right?
What is the cost difference, if you don't mind us asking, like on a percentage basis?
On a percentage basis, I would say at least 20%, which was huge for us, and it allowed us to reinvest in our data and allowed us to just focus more on our data, on our lead generation strategies, and being able to focus on scaling our internal traffic rather than having to manage the call center here, invest in the workforce here, and that coming with obviously a premium cost, and then also the challenges the call center brought during those times with COVID.
Do you see similar conversion rates, or did you see some degradation in your conversion by moving it offshore? And a follow-up to that, I would love to know, like, what are your oversight and management practices for making sure that your vendor over there is doing everything that they're supposed to, asking the correct questions the correct way to pre-qual? Like how do you stay on top of that stuff?
So it's a great question. So we have a dedicated account manager who or call center manager, Sebastian Hoyos, not only oversees our partnership, but Sebastian also is a bit of a Swiss Army knife. He has a lot of the call center background and experience as well. And he actually spearheaded our call center here in South Florida before we made the transition. So he was integral in making sure and continues to be integral in overseeing performance with our call center, making sure that our team is hitting their standard KPIs, um, and at the same time focusing on scale and making sure that from a compliance standpoint, the data is being, everything's obviously PCPA compliant. We partner with both Trinaya and Trusted Forms to ensure consent on every touch point and every lead that gets distributed through the call center from initial touch point down to the qualifying transfer upstream to our buyers. We utilize, or we require every lead to get passed through those two checkpoints, along with some litigator firewalls we have with with the TCPA Shield or Ringba TCPA Shield. We also utilize BLA from Blacklist Alliance to help minimize TCPA exposure for all of our clients and partners alike. And just doing our best to make sure from a compliance standpoint that we're buttoned up and we are minimizing that exposure from our clients. And at the call center standpoint, checking in routinely, not just at the agent level, but even at the management level, understanding what our data process is in terms of our data scrub process and running it through multiple DNC checks to minimize exposure once again. So
Do you see a difference in conversion rate between the Americans and the Filipinos?
There's definitely a slight conversion rate. The Filipinos they are incredibly resilient too, and they do a great job of trying to emulate I think the culture and really the communication that's done to build rapport even with the consumers as well, in effort not to miss a beat, right, and not to affect quality and the product that's being delivered to our customers.
Awesome. So congratulations on the goat, by the way, and thank you for sending that video. That was amazing.
Good work.
And on that note, like there's a ton of opportunity in pay-per-call. We all know it because we're in it. I'm curious if someone is, say, an affiliate, because OfferVault's audience is very heavy on the affiliate side. If someone is an affiliate and they're running normal CPA offers and they're interested in pay-per-call, like let's rewind to your day one, Fernando. You see pay-per-call, but you know everything you know today. Where would you start and what would you do?
Good question. Loaded question. Anything, right? Being able to have probably the technology that we have today and the intelligence and the team that we have today. I think talent, people are important, process is important, and profits follow. And those that's our methodology and what has attributed to our success and growth. And I think just having the right people in place, being able to, having the right people in place, I think is so key. I was listening to even one of your other shows, one of the other episodes with Jason from A4D, and talk about goats, right? He, highlighting the fact that in every team you need a visionary, but you also need an integrator, right? And having Vanessa Arce, who's our director of ad operations, she understands Ringba like the back of her hand. And although the support team is phenomenal in what they do, being able to have someone to hold those conversations and understand the nuances of the platform that drives our growth, right? And helps monetize the call inventory that's being produced by our internal teams, our call partners alike. It's essential, and being able to establish that early on, having also and lastly, being able to have the capital to invest in those resources early on. Early on we bootstrapped the business, and we were fortunate with a little bit of luck as well, and taking advantage of certain growth verticals, right? The uptick with the Medicare insurance vertical, final expense, right? The catalyst from COVID, although it being unfortunate, it kind of served as a catalyst for the final expense product. And many of our customers took advantage of that, and we were fortunate to be at the forefront and providing those marketing services and being a conduit to help connect those consumers, those insurance agencies for those products. So some of it's kind of luck, but I think just establishing the right talent, and then also if you have the capital available to be able to utilize it more effectively, on day one, with Fernando, being in 2012 at the time, because we were at the 2012, we were trying to understand just how to protect ourselves from fraud, right? With on the CPA side, CPL side, you have a multitude of different fraud detectors, if you will, or fraud tools that help minimize fraud, right? On the call side, you really need to establish a QA team and a QA infrastructure to help identify if consumers that are calling in are actual consumers with high intent, or if they're being coached in some fashion, whether through some work from home type of opportunity or what have you, right? Incentivized in some way.
Well, let me unpack that just for a second for our listeners that don't quite understand what Fernando is saying. So he is talking about what is referred to as mystery shoppers most of the time, secret shoppers, right? And so there's actually people who sell courses on how to do this, and it's ridiculous. But basically, they'll recruit people. I won't say where, but they'll recruit people and tell them, hey, you're a secret shopper. You need to call this phone number and talk to the agent and pretend you're interested and ask these questions. And you have to stay on the phone for X number of minutes. And it's really an unfortunate problem. It's extremely hard to detect. It is extremely hard to track. It is extremely hard to understand.
And it's just stealing from advertisers.
Yeah.
And because of the kind of nature, dynamic of the business with brokers, et cetera, these advertisers just get hosed on calls from it. Based on what I've seen, it's definitely less of a problem today as it was 2 or 3 years ago, but it's still pretty prominent, unfortunately.
And so I think what you said is super important, and that is you have to have a quality assurance team and listen to your calls and pay attention to it. And that's an immense amount of effort, right? Like it's like even for
your margins too.
Oh yeah. Like even for
absolutely.
just Assure, a single customer of ours, the amount of phone calls you run, it's just like this massive problem to try and QA it all within your resources. And as you continue to grow, like the problem gets
multiplies.
Yeah, it just multiplies. And so, like it's tough. It's a lot of work to do, but I love that you guys do it. It's something that I'm a big advocate of. I think that, our customers should listen to as many of their phone calls as they can. Obviously, they're never going to get to all of them, right? Like it'll take lifetimes to do it, but
even just every day, picking a couple random recordings, giving them a listen. If I was generating calls, I would do that because you may have feedback for your buyer to increase their overall conversion rate, which is going to benefit you, and you are able to get a higher payout on a certain campaign or a certain target or source that you have.
Yeah, and done right, quality assurance can be a profit center. So not only are you looking for
a lot of people think the opposite, though.
Yeah,
a lot of people think, who cares, quality assurance? No way, I don't want to pay people to do this. And like we've had a dinner where we were talking about this for like hours. Like, look, if you can turn it into a profit center, like you're operating your business on another level than the other guys selling similar calls or whatever.
Yeah, you can listen for consumer intent. You can listen for words that they say.
If you see a coaching opportunity for an agent,
yeah,
you're like providing so much value to your end buyer, and you're gonna probably see value to that when their overall conversion rate into a policy or whatever you're selling, calls of improve.
Oh no,
For,
absolutely. I'm sorry, Josh.
oh, I was just going to take us to our next topic, but if you got something else to
Yeah.
comment on that, go ahead.
Dude, so I was
ChatGPT
gonna
could have
say,
transitioned that
Yeah.
much more
I
smoothly.
forgot
Oh,
Josh was here.
We both
Yeah.
started talking at the same time. I was trying to be polite. What were you going to say, Fernando?
no, I was gonna mention like as an additive to just a strong QA process, we developed like an internal custom performance scorecard, which is kind of what we coined it, if you will. But it allows us to essentially extract our data or receive once we receive our data, we demand data from our clients so that we can help understand what campaigns down to the keyword level, down to the ad source level, what's performing best, what's not, right? Identifying what keywords, what ad sources are driving sale or driving high quality intent calls that are then translating to sales. And then taking that data in as an aggregate, cross-referencing that with our database provided by also Ringba, right? That's where it stems from, and then identifying at the publisher level or sub ID level what sources are performing best and which campaigns to either pause, optimize, and grow, right? And not only do we do that globally within our ecosystem and within our network, but being able to then distribute that same data set and information to each respective partner, I think it's huge, and that's been a significant testament to our growth and maintaining the growth, right? Because you can hit a certain, Harrison's point, like you hit a certain threshold, right? You can just run campaigns, run and gun until you get to a certain degree, but in order to really scale and build that continuity and long-term value for your customers,
Exactly.
QA, it starts with the basics, right?
If
And
you're willing
QA
to
is
do
definitely one of them.
QA, you're changing from a spinning plates return and burn mentality to we're going to build a freaking business mentality. We're going to actually build something for the long haul. We're not just selling calls. We're actually building something to provide value to our customers, our buyers. They're providing something to the consumers, and now you have an ecosystem of value, shall we call it?
Exactly.
Fernando, let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, health IQ. All jokes aside, I know that you guys were one of the companies affected by that whole debacle, losing upwards of $600,000 in accounts receivable, which I believe you told me is still in collections. So I'm really curious, how does a company like Assure bounce back from that? How do you guys get through that and kind of surge onward?
So first and foremost, right? We were apparently we were pretty lucky. I think we were one of the companies that were affected on the lower scale.
Yep.
And it created just a ripple effect, I think, in our space, right? Allowing, I think, making us all just that much more prudent and aware of managing AR and watching it closely, modifying our credit terms with clients, right, and payment terms, having to maybe shift and accelerate certain payment terms to continue to fuel and help bridge the gap that was created with a company like Health IQ. It forces you to look at the relationships differently, especially with a client at such a at their caliber and size. You would never expect for that to happen, right? So when that happened, we especially for a company at our size and our caliber, it could have completely took us out of the market, right? But we were resilient and we were able to push through and recover. And Q1 and Q2 was definitely was going to be that challenging test, and we were able to make it through. Thanks to our partners and clients alike, and our team. So much so that we actually started to grow a bit in this last quarter as well in terms of team size. We hired Robert Dabowski, a director of sales, who's kind of spearheading new client development and business, really spearheading kind of the growth of our CPA side of the business, and also develop some of the newer verticals with consumer finance, debt settlement specifically within that umbrella, a little bit of home services, and being mindful and cognizant of, or opportunistic, if you will, of some of the other emerging verticals or campaigns that perform well throughout the year, right? We were so heavily focused on Q4, or a lot of our revenue coming from Q4 and the insurance vertical. Diversity and diversification, excuse me, was the biggest focus going into this year. And
Do you have an actual process that you've developed for determining credit limits and how you kind of handle that with your advertisers, or like how did you change, I guess, the dynamic relationships that you have with your existing advertisers to protect yourself from this happening in the future?
So we've established, even from, I guess, from the infancy, Harrison, to your point, like we've had a pretty tight vetting process on both sides of the coin, right? With clients, and then even on the publisher side, our advertisers are, in addition to the onboarding documents, or a part of the onboarding documents, is a questionnaire that identifies who they are, the type of business that they are, trade references, and making sure that all those boxes are checked are usually enough to kind of give us a measure on where this customer stacks up.
I'll just jump in really quick and say, if you are using trade references for credit references, you should probably actually call them. And this isn't for you, this is for the
100%.
listeners.
Absolutely.
just like PSA. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't
No,
want to lose the
100%.
thought.
Dude, like in today, especially in today's era, our business moves so fast, and sometimes, just checking the boxes for certain organizations might be enough. But with situations like the Health IQ, debacle, we learn from that, and we take a breath, identify who this company is, how long they've been in business, how much of an impact have they made within our space, within their own industry, right? So we're definitely taking we're just taking a closer look on every client that we work with, and establishing credit for newer clients, right? Implementing a rule where we require at least a small prepay for the initial test, especially for a brand new client, right? Assuming
I think that's pretty telling. We've been in the industry a really long time, and when someone refuses to make a $2,500 or $5,000 prepayment to kick off a
red flag,
relationship,
for sure.
Doesn't even matter how big or small they are. It's a red flag.
It's a sign of good faith. If you're willing to write a
Exactly.
check, send a wire, whatever, it just shows that you're serious.
Do you insure any of your receivables now through Euler Hermes, or I think they were acquired, but
so we've built the business organically, and we were just fortunate to do so. So a lot of what we do is just organically grown. We have explored and looked at some organizations to help, provide support on the finance side for AR factoring, and just picking up our AR period. And but we've been fortunate to just continue to push forward just as is, because of how that affects also the bottom line, right? So it's something to look at.
You're paying a few points for that, for sure.
Yeah, so it's we want to be light, and we want to continue to grow, and we're at a point now where just going into next year, we'll be hopefully positioned for a solid position on the Inc. 5000, and continued recognition, and then building out, continuing to build out our internal marketing strategies and media strategies to develop additional drivers that are going to help grow the business. And I think at that point, maybe there'll be growth capital or position for continued growth, right, with additional support on that front.
Well, I like that you're diversifying your industry lineup. I think that's super important. We have some customers that are hyper specific on what they do. And that's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's amazing to be hyper specific and really get ingrained into the ecosystem and to truly understand a business. You can widen your margins that way. You can create sustainable campaigns that way. But when you run into a situation like Health IQ, which, I mean, come on, that's not your fault. I mean, they were backed by Andreessen Horowitz. Like, how much more gold standard do you get? So like, it's
Correct.
a super
Notable
painful.
capital.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a super painful lesson to
Tier
learn.
one.
But as you diversify into other verticals, you might not know them as well, but it really brings down your accounts receivables risk. Because if, for instance, the health insurance industry runs into an issue and you're in, 5 major verticals, the likelihood that all 5 of those major verticals diversified across a large pool of buyers run into an issue is pretty small. And also, I see you're also interested in, and you're going to be growing in consumer finance and debt settlement and whatever. And so outside of insurance, you will see shorter payment terms. You'll see better payment terms. And so that can kind of offset a lot of the insurance risk. Yeah, exactly. And it's awesome that you're surviving this and you're resilient about it. It's even better that you're willing to publicly talk about it. And I think that's super important. Some of our customers I know that took a serious bath on this situation aren't willing to publicly talk about it. And
taking losses sucks, but if you talk about it, you're kind of helping someone else not, wear those same shoes, follow that same situation.
And also forcing yourself to relive it over and over and over again. So like you don't make the same mistake twice. Not to say that you made one with the Health IQ situation, but look, the reality is,
guardrails have been put in place that are going to protect your business for years and years to come because of that experience. And so obviously losing, $600K sucks, but there might be a, $6 million vendor one day, and your processes and the things that you've put in place to prevent that will save you millions of dollars. So it might, pay for itself, so to speak, in the future.
And for the aspiring entrepreneurs listening, like, I think it's really cool. If you've noticed, this is the second time that Fernando has mentioned that he has had to have some grit in his business. COVID, his call center wasn't working out, shifted overseas, retooled the entire side of the business so he could be successful, and then comes out of COVID and then has this crazy issue with Health IQ. And he's like, fuck it, we're grinding. And I think that, that's a real entrepreneurial mindset. And when you talk about it, I don't see on your face that you're like, oh, woe is me, or pity me, or I'm suffering, or whatever. I see you going like, this is part of the journey. I know it's going to happen. I'm going to have to fight. Anything worth doing, you have to fight for. And so it's really cool that you guys, are sitting there growing your business and are like, all right, this might be the hardest landscape ever. We're resource strapped. We're going to figure it out. We're going to make changes along the way.
This is the reality of being an entrepreneur and a business person. You see someone, if you're a new entrepreneur, you're just getting started, and you think it's all just like glam and smiles and greatness. There's a lot of shit eating. When you get used to that, you will succeed, because you just roll with those punches, and it just makes you stronger, makes you better in all aspects of whatever you're doing.
Hey, Fernando, Adam mentioned in terms of mitigating financial risk, diversification, shortened payment terms. What other things are you guys doing at Assure outside of that to really cover all your bases on that front?
So, mitigating risk and diversifying across verticals or a vertical strategy is one, right? But diversification comes in a variety of at different levels, right? So you have your diversification across different industries and verticals, but then even within the customer base, right? Not having concentration risk with one particular client. And you can diversify and then have one major client in each vertical, and that still poses some risk, right? So being able to be just conscious of that and diversifying within your customer base across every single vertical I think is also key, and that's another layer that sometimes can be missed, right? And then at the same instance on the marketing strategy, right? Diversifying by channel. Not limiting yourself to just Google or Facebook, but across other channels such as YouTube, such as TikTok, working with publishers that leverage native and just not being able to take that omni-channel or multi-channel approach. And that, I think, has been a huge contributing factor to our success and our growth.
Yeah, I know we've already talked about how you use Ringba as your call tracking platform, but I know you yourself are a huge advocate of the technology, and I'm curious, how has that partnership really kind of fueled the company's exponential growth since you started working with them? And what are your basically favorite parts of the Ringba technology that you really attribute to that success? And let me just say, Adam and Harrison love a good Ringba plug, so this is your opportunity to really shine. So tell us a little bit about why you love Ringba so much.
So it obviously supercharges our business, right? Seeing significant growth year over year, over 400% in growth from year one to now. It's been it's been an incredible journey, and having a technology that's flexible, that is low cost, that doesn't tie you down contractually, is a huge game changer for any sole marketer or sole proprietor, right? Who's building out a new business. You want to minimize cost, or you want to control cost. And being able to have a partner, a technology partner that has all the bells and whistles and the cutting edge technology at a controlled rate or controlled cost to help support your growth was essential. Especially in the early stages, being able to just manage that cost month over month, right? And then the response that we get from the team, if there's any changes that need to be made, if there's any issues that we're experiencing, the support team, our dedicated support managers, are responding immediately. Response time is instant in most cases. So that having a partner that not just provides the technology solution for you, but also helps you and guides you through it is, I think, is huge. And that in itself, the value add that we get from it is you just can't put a cost on it, quite frankly.
And what would you say to companies in this space? And obviously, we're not going to mention those companies or the other.
Wait a second. I did not ask Josh to do this. I just want to be clear.
What would you say to the other companies in our industry who aren't using Ringba? Like, what are they missing out on? Or is it really just that, white glove experience that you kind of just walked us through?
A white glove experience, it's user interface. It's cutting edge technology. It's constantly being ahead of the curve and understanding the changes that our industry brings, and being able to modify your solution to help support those businesses as those changes come down the pipeline. Just being receptive to change, I think, is important, and having the framework that is flexible to allow those changes quickly by client, I think is huge. And that sets you aside from the others. So for those companies that are not utilizing Ringba today, I think you guys are missing out. It's a huge value add and a huge, I just think it's a huge value add to your business overall, and their clients and partners alike.
Yeah, Adam just messaged me on Skype. He said, "This is a great segment. Let's keep this going."
I did not.
Let's continue to expand on this.
Thank you, Fernando. It means a lot, but I was like, "Fuck, is this the affiliate marketing show, or is this G2 crowd?"
Well, look to your point, Fernando. When you talked about having the right people to set yourself up for success, something we're huge advocates of at Ringba is finding the best talent possible and then helping that talent grow and thrive. And so it's not about just finding the right talent. It's about finding the right talent that is interested in personal and professional growth and receptive to coaching and wants to get better and wants to grow. For instance, I'm going to give you an example. We had a young gentleman who started off as a tier 1 support person, which at Ringba means they man the live chat. Now, we only hire software developers to do customer service, which may sound crazy, but you just heard the review, everybody. So it's fantastic. But that person, 5 or 6 years later, is now a director of engineering. And they learned everything along the way: how to build infrastructure, how to architect, how we think about software design, how we deal with issues, because that's super important, right? Like how to be transparent with customers when an issue happens. So it's just years and years and years of coaching these people, and they want to get better. And our lead project manager V, we have Vanessa as well. She's incredible and has same sort of thing. Started as tier 1 and then wanted to be a project manager and learned how to do it, and is getting better and better, and is constantly trying to improve, and is very open-minded to coaching. And so we spend an immense amount of time on the human element of our team to not only provide incredible support to folks like your team, but if you don't do this, you can't build an incredible organization. It's just so powerful to find those people, and so fulfilling to like coach them and see them thrive and grow. And it all starts with that human element, right? And so yeah, we build great technology, and I'm super proud of that. And I don't know, whatever, I think it's the best. But really what we have that I know is the absolute best, unequivocally, is the team of people that works at our company. And that's what really drives the success of our technology and our clients and the industry and all that. So I'm just shout out to our team. We are so proud of them. And one thing, I will say one more thing about this, that we have instilled at the culture at Ringba is mistakes are allowed and encouraged. Right? They're allowed to do it once. Just obviously just once, right? Like you got to learn from it. Second time, not okay. But the first time, right? Like it's so important to us that if a mistake happens, that we talk about it publicly and we help teach each other and lift each other up and do these things. Because, the one thing I can guarantee is we're going to have a problem some point for something, right? And so if that's the only thing I can guarantee, I have to foster an environment where people feel safe discussing problems and growing and learning. And I have a feeling, I've met some of your staff, right? I have a feeling your organization is very similar. And in fact, all of our really amazing clients have similar mindsets around these things. And I think that is the real key to success outside of anything else. It's not soft skills and technical talent or anything like that. It's really just finding those 1% of humans that want to kick ass every single day and really love what they do and who want to be passionate about it. See, look how excited I got just talking about the people. So
Fernando, I'm actually going to kick this right back over to you, but it's a perfect transition for this next question. I know you guys at Assure are actually looking to hire some people, including like a director of sales, a few other positions. So I'm curious, when you're going through your hiring process, what are some of the most important characteristics and human qualities that you look for in a potential candidate before they actually join the team?
Sure. So it comes down to, as Adam mentioned, the human element is important for us. People, as I mentioned earlier, people first over, before profits, right? It's people, process, and then profits follow. And some of the, characteristics we look for is being detail oriented, but besides detail orientation, team oriented, and willing to work collaboratively together to achieve the common goal. And as cliche as that may sound, it's the basis of our growth. And having a small team, you have to have that camaraderie. You have to be willing to learn from each other and help each other through those tough times. And just being resilient, overcoming those challenges, being receptive to change. And those are basic characters, I think, in our space alone that are required in order to be successful and effective in our industry. It's not for everyone. Some have it and some don't. And those are qualities that I think just translate across every aspect of this business. Hard work is obviously key, right? And similar to, but hard work is going to get you through the business. But just being willing to go above and beyond for your team and those that are working alongside you, I think is what allows a business to grow. And failure is success, and or what is it? Failure is success in progress, right? So you may feel like you're failing, but you're as long as you're learning and you can walk away with something that's going to allow you to push forward with that momentum, you're gonna learn from it, and you're never gonna make that you're never gonna make that mistake again. So that I think just those basic elements is what we look for. Obviously, having experience in the space is huge. That's a plus. But there's times where we've hired team members, part of our team, that may have some junior experience in the space, but hit the ground running and just are hungry and are come in with an open cup and ready to learn. And I'll take someone with less experience who has that knack for just being resilient and wanting to be a part of a team and grow and want to learn and grow. I'll take that over anyone who is experienced.
Yeah. Well, Fernando, fantastic job on the Affiliate Marketing Show. We really loved having you on, and we'll definitely have you back in the future. For myself, Josh from OfferVault.com, Mr. Paper Call himself, Adam Young, as well as the creator and founder of the Ringba tank top corporation.
Sorry I didn't get the memo. Next time I'll wear my tank top, Harrison.
You should have given me a heads up. I would have put the Ringba tank on and the Ringba shorts.
As well as the CEO of Assure Media, Fernando Mendez. Let's make that paper. Let's make that dough. This was the Affiliate Marketing Show. We will see you all next time.
Affiliate marketing.